sort of some of the questions that you might have, and I'm more than happy to talk about that when we get to the Q&A section. But I really just wanted to start off by thinking about, you know, what we approach this this major as, and part of it is to emphasize certain core sort of elements of the English as a discipline, as a major, and then kind of thinking about life beyond English as well. So this is part of our brochure, and some of the things that our graduates have gone on to do, as you can see, you know, into law school, into journalism. Obviously, we have some of our alumni, Professor Hildema, who is currently a professor in St. Mary's in our department. So there are a lot of different routes that you can take once you major, and I think it's really sort of heartwarming to see the number of things you can do with English as a major. And given that we are located in the Bay Area, it's really sort of easy for our majors and graduates to find internships, to find suitable sort of transition points into jobs, both during their stay at St. Mary's and then after. And the idea behind the major, and we have updated the major very recently, and our new major essentially emphasizes both sort of giving people a foundation in English and allowing them to explore their choices. And so to get into the sort of nuts and bolts of the discipline, you'd be taking a total of 13 courses if you were to major in English. And 4 of these are our fundamental courses or foundation courses. And they introduce you to how one reads literature, how one analyzes literary texts using different theoretical forms. Then we have 1 foundational course in Shakespeare. And then finally, 196 is what is our capstone course. But other than these 4 courses, you are welcome to take 9 courses from all of our areas that we offer, and the ones that are listed here kind of play to the strengths of our faculty as well, given how diverse our interests are. So while, for example, I teach primarily in the 19th century, but my interest stems towards Sherlock Holmes, towards detectives, towards goats, and I think Tiffany was in one of those courses. So we sort of get to explore what Victorian England was from the point of view of these sort of less than sort of what one would call marginal areas, right? And so that way you're both covering the period, but also getting the benefit of what our faculty have done research. And similarly, we have a new course in law and literature, and I apologize for that, in law and literature and in film and theory. So it's allowing students to explore their own sort of interests. And having said that, there are 4 sort of concentrations which students can take, and these are by no means taken by all students. Some students do choose to focus on one of the following 4 areas, so creative writing, literary theory and history, dramatic and film arts, and prep for high school teaching. And high school teaching, I do want to touch on it briefly. What that allows you to do is, if that is the track you choose, then you can go straight into teaching high school in California without necessarily having to take another certification course. So that's really useful. And then given the range of connections that SMC has, you would be able to benefit from internships and then follow-up opportunities. The creative writing concentration is one of our most popular, given that we also sort of are in close collaboration with the MFA program, where you have some of the nation's sort of, you know, top poets and authors teaching our graduates and undergraduates. And very recently, Professor Brenda Hillman, who is one of our faculty members with whom you'd be taking classes, should you choose creative writing, she was honored by the she was honored by the American Academy of Arts as one of the 9 poets who they're honoring this year from across the country. And so a lot of our students do take creative writing. If you're thinking more in terms of grad school, or thinking about sort of pursuing further higher education, then literary theory and history might be for you. And of course, the dramatic and film arts allows you to explore both plays and films. And recently, I think we have had a course on Hitchcock. In fact, that is a course that's happening right now. So with Professor Manter, you'd be reading film theory and viewing Hitchcock. So this is for the major, but it's also really easy to minor in English. We have a 6-course, so let me sort of really go back quickly. We have a 6-course minor, and so a number of our students, as Ellen mentioned, major in civic communications and minor in English, or major in theater and religious, or theological and religious studies and minor in English. And so you'd be taking 2 of the fundamental courses along with Shakespeare and 3 other upper division electives. You can also minor in creative writing, and there you would be, again, you know, sort of given that you're taking 5 courses, that is also a minor that's fairly easy to pursue in English.